Welcome to the podcast Friday Feels, brought to you by the Office of Counseling and Wellness at Berkeley College. I'm your host and personal counselor, Sarah Nickerson. Join our journey with Berkeley students as they navigate the challenges of the current pandemic with strength, creativity, and wisdom. New episodes released every Friday. Thanks for listening. So welcome to Friday Feels, both Danielle and Onisha. I'm so happy to have both of you here. How are you guys doing?
I'm amazing.
Doing good, good.
Good. I'm good. We were just talking about how it's like a really beautiful day outside today, and I'm looking forward to going on a nice long walk after work.
Yes, really, really beautiful. Like I couldn't believe it. I had my heavy coat on and I was like, oh, I need to take this off. It is too nice for this.
Oh my gosh, It was nice in Jersey. I'm not in Jersey right now. That's why I was asking.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like 50-ish degrees right now. It's nice.
Where are you, Anisha?
I'm in Georgia right now.
Oh, what's the weather like there?
I had a convention, a business event that I was at couples like last Saturday. Last Saturday. Yeah, the Saturday that just passed.
Nice.
So I was out here on business.
That's awesome. Well, usually we start by having our guests introduce themselves. So Danielle, we'll start with you. Whatever you want to share, just tell us a little bit about who you are.
Okay, sure. So my name is Danielle Hewitt. I'm the personal counselor for both Woodbridge and Newark campuses. Something that most people don't know about me is I'm mixed, Irish and Black. And I have a beautiful 2-year-old who's currently in her terrible 2 stage. Yeah, and fun fact also, before becoming a counselor, music was my first passion. So I used to be called the human radio.
Whoa.
Yeah, because I knew basically like every song that would come on, and people would be like, "Whoa, how do you know that?" I just love all kinds of music. So
that's so cool. I didn't know that about you. So did you sing or did you play music or what did you do?
I called myself a singer. That was the first thing I wanted to do. As a youngin, grabbing the microphone, 3 years old, always singing, and I was in plays in school. I was in a choir for 8 years, but I'm not going to toot my own horn and say I can sing, though.
Aw, that's really cool, though, that is like a passion of yours, and that's really fun. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what about you, Anisha?
Okay, well, hi everyone. My name is Onisha Dalrymple. I'm 20 years old. I am currently going into my last semester of college for my associate's degree in marketing communications.
Whoop, whoop.
I also I also work at the Newark campus for Berkeley as a student development campus life assistant, like office assistant. So that's what I do for my work study. And on the outside of that, I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own business, and I'm also an investor. So that's also my business. So I do that. That's why I'm out here in Georgia for this event that we had, and then I'm going to Florida this weekend. So
wow,
nice.
But I'm definitely following all the safety guidelines. And we're all good.
Yeah. That's good. Wow. Yeah. You are someone who is always super busy and involved in so many different things. So that's cool to hear.
And I'm also an aspiring writer. Sorry.
No, tell us it all. That's great.
That's it.
Poetry or novels or
I just kind of want to do I'm really thinking autobiography. That's just gonna have to happen. I think every good writer has one, but like the genre that I like, I kind of like nonfiction. I like history books, and something that I would read would be like crime novels, and I like to look at like documents and stuff like from like back in the day. So I definitely like history. So I might write something like about somebody's life. Who knows? Maybe like an untold story. That would be cool.
That's cool. So many different creative outlets. It sounds like that you've found that also fit your passions and what you're good at.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. So as you guys know, but maybe not everybody would know, next week is Women's History Month, which is why we have this very special podcast with the two of you.
Yes.
So I wanted to start by asking, why is Women's History Month important to you guys personally? And either one of you can start off with that.
I'll start, I guess. So, Women's History Month, it's important to me because I think it reflects the major accomplishments women have achieved throughout the years. And it helps young girls and women look forward to what they can do or become. So it's a sense of empowerment, I would say. And that's something that I've always been about, empowering other women.
I love that. What about for you, Anisha?
To me, Women's History Month. Why is it important? Well, I only had like growing up, I only had my mom and my grandmother to really see that like what a woman should be like in my eyes, very hardworking, very independent, doesn't need a man to really do anything. And being a female that's going into entrepreneurship and also as an investor, I'm noticing around me that the businesses that I'm naturally gravitating to are male dominated. So I feel like females like growing up, especially now, like I'm in my 20s, and I'm just like hitting the surface of like what life could have for me. It's like I shouldn't feel intimidated by going into an environment like that. And then I'm going to even feel more intimidated because I'm a young Black woman, right? I don't see a lot of me resembled in the business world. So I think that that's important to have that pillar to kind of at least start it, And I know a lot of beautiful, amazing, successful women just like yourselves as well. And I aspire to be like them just as a woman, to be at least like a legend in something.
Oh, girl, I think you're already on your way to legend. You're already on your way to legend status.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I remember like a few years ago, just like, with the Me Too movement and things kind of shifting in the culture, that, women have been sort of more at the forefront of different productions in terms of whether it's like in movies or as directors or in the business world or whatever, but there's still such a lack of representation. And I've just noticed, even for myself, like the power of having strong female leaders, and particularly at Berkeley, where we have a lot of strong female leaders of color. That has been such a wonderful experience, and to be able to see our students look up to people, like you were saying, Anisha, like people that are reflecting their own self, like that is so important. And I was wondering, I know you talked a little bit about your mom, but are there other women in your all's life that have sort of paved the way for you, or that you've sort of looked to as a powerful example of female leadership?
Oh, you want me to go first?
Either one of you. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, I'll go, I guess. Honestly, I don't really have like a specific person, because I feel like we all as women like have that nurturing ability, right? And I see that, like I could see my mom in anyone, because of the nurturing and the caring and the environment that I look towards, I don't know. I just kind of like admire so many different people for such like so many different things. Like I even have like people that I admire that are females that are younger, like that are my age, because I just like how they carry themselves, they set the radar for me. Like I don't know, like they set that bar for me, like that expectation like of a woman, what a woman should be like, especially in the business world and just like in school and everything, like so I can't pinpoint anyone, but definitely like I would honestly say like hands down my mom, because she's literally everything. Like we won't be anywhere without a mother, so definitely love her. So that's her.
I love both parts of what you said. Like one that I think that there is like sometimes this pressure on women to be everything to everyone, but recognizing that we all have strengths and different facets of our personality, and that a woman doesn't have to be just one thing. She can be so many different things. And I actually really love that answer, because it really shows it shows just the kaleidoscope of female experiences that exist in the world today, where traditionally there's been like, lots of different roles that have been placed on women. So that's really cool.
Right.
What about for you, Danielle?
For me, I would have to say the woman on my mom's side of the family. Um,
Mm.
it's filled with beautiful, black, strong women. So, kind of piggybacking off of what Onisha said, they've shown me what it means to be independent. So they would be like, don't depend on anyone for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And they took care of their own children, took care of other people's children. Most importantly, they do things out of love and they don't complain. So they're always giving a helping hand. And like Onisha, my mom is my best friend. She is my major support system. So even now, as an adult, with my own child, she continues to spoil me like crazy. Um, and really, I get my quiet, reserved character from her, but
Mm.
also like the will to keep going. And
Mm.
she's also taught me how to listen without judgment. And
Yeah.
that shaped me into like the counselor I am today, listening without judgment. And also my grandma on my dad's side, um, we would say the Fighting Irish, right?
Yeah.
She passed away last year during all of this, but
Oh.
she also taught me a lot of simple life lessons that reside within me, and I'll continue to tell my daughter and future children.
Oh, I love that. Sounds like both sides of your family were valuable for different reasons. Um, what do you guys feel like are some of the struggles that face women today?
Oof.
I know. Where do we begin?
Where do we start? I think I'll go first if that's okay.
Yeah.
Some of the struggles, I think, kind of just the whole idea of like women being a boss. And I talk a lot about this because I'm starting to see things like for myself getting older, one, and then two, also kind of just in general, because it's like the a female, it's so much. I'm sorry. Okay. So a female, right? Like she can't be a boss or she can't be like that strong figure because if she's too assertive with something, she's looked at as the opposite word. You know what I mean? And then if she's not, and she's very intimidating, like she's like not intimidating enough or she's very quiet and reserved, she's kind of look at the weak type. So it's like we kind of fall in between this category. We can never really truly be ourselves because ourselves not be may not be accepted in society, right? Or like
Mm.
too much of ourselves. Now we're too cocky and we shouldn't be doing this much. Like, it's always kind of a back and forth with society. And that's kind of like why me personally, like, I don't fall deep into like this whole millennial thing with like how all like I could listen to the music and stuff, but like it's so like derogatory. Like when you really look at
Mhm.
it, it's like it's still not painting a good picture for us because whether you're black, white, whatever your race is, like it doesn't matter. We're all still women. So like, and then we also
Yeah.
have like that uplifting environment of our own. Like guys will be guys, like they'll get over things, like they'll dap each other up or like, give each other high fives and stuff and forget about things. But females, we like harbor that baggage. And like, I don't know why we do this to ourselves. And very literally, like so
Mhm.
much emotional baggage that we carry just from ourselves and from others that we kind of like, that's why I say like we're that nurturing type. Guys, like guys don't carry emotional baggage as much as a female would. So it's kind of like hard for us to really get into certain environments because we're just looked at as being super emotional when and then we're kind of shunned for it. But in reality, we should really be proud of that because we possess something that a male can't understand. Not in like competitiveness, but just in like comprehension. Like we feel things deeply. Men, they're more analytical, majority of them. So I think like we should stop looking at our weaknesses as that's one of our struggles. We look at our strengths as our weaknesses and not the opposite. You know what I mean? So that's one thing. Just a couple of things.
I agree with everything Onisha said. She said it beautifully. Like she basically touched all the points that I was going to say, but also like I feel women, we just compare ourselves too much to each other.
Mm.
You know, it's all about physical, like body types, hair types, too much makeup, not enough makeup, you're this, you're that. And, you know, social media has a huge impact on that. And I would say a negative impact on that because they show so much of the positive things, the edited, you know, filters, and girls see that and they think that that's real life, like everyday life. Um, so I just think that, you know, the constant comparing ourselves, and then yeah, we become emotional. We end up, we have this emotional baggage, and then the double standards, you know, with men and women, what we can and can't do. So I just think that that's the biggest issue right now.
Yeah, I feel like there definitely has been such a history of women tearing each other down, especially over men.
Oh my gosh.
Which is just a whole other thing. But
Yeah.
the compare and despair and sort of like, you know, even when it comes to what woman, like what is right for each woman, right? So like some women may be able to juggle multiple things at once, but then for someone else, you know, what might be right for them might not be right for somebody else. And so
Mhm.
not trying to literally put it into like a one size fits all model. We're all uniquely created. And I loved what you had said, Anisha, about um, our strengths, like our weaknesses being our strengths, like
Mhm.
that tender part of who we are, and sort of the more you know, not always, but that more emotional center that women have can really be our strength. And I think that's why for so long, you know, that's why they said a woman couldn't be president, right? Because they're like, oh, they're so emotional. But why
Mm.
does emotional have to be a bad thing?
Yeah. That's the thing. Like when people say things, wow, one of my friends, we was having this conversation like a while, like a couple weeks ago actually. And he was basically saying like the world puts like a taint on things. Like they kind of taint it. Like say if I say, oh, like I say something with like a negative attitude towards it, like the attitude in my tone of my voice, like people would automatically think like, okay, this thing is bad, I won't try it. When that could really be the thing that takes them to the level of success that they want to be at, you know?
Mm,
And like how you just said, like we like you just said like that basically there's always like this negative connotation to being emotional as females. Like, oh, we're
yeah.
so emotional. When they should be like, wow, she's very emotional. Because when they meet somebody that's not, then they're gonna call them the, you know, the B word.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, so it's kind of like I was just saying this today too. There's really no in between. Like, especially with myself too, there's no in between with me. Like it's either you kind of get what you give with me. You come crazy, you
Mm,
know, you come very disrespectful, you're gonna get that back. I'll be very professional with it, but you'll still get it back. You won't get the same nice, caring person. There's no in between. And I think that's what scares people. Like they don't know who they're
yeah.
gonna get. But it's not even like a bad thing. It's like sorry, but like as females too, we have to learn to put on that hat. You know, when do I have to be this person for this person? When do I have to be the person for this person for this situation or that situation? Like sometimes, you know, we keep on that one hat and we forget to take it off, you know? So
Mm,
Mhm.
that's
yeah.
that's that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think there's like, I know, I don't remember where I've read it. I'm sure it's like multiple places, but they talked about how, you know, like if a man um, shares his opinion at work, it's seen as assertive. But if a woman shares her opinion at work, she's seen as being, you know, an unkind word or as being like
You know, I've seen
difficult.
that too.
Yeah.
I think Aaliyah
Yeah.
said that in an interview. Aaliyah
Yeah.
the artist, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, that Danielle, back to what you were saying about like the double standard of, you know, women are not held to the same standard as men.
Mhm.
And also the different hats too, like you said, Anisha, like we're not even sometimes, like, I'll talk about this with my colleagues as a therapist, and Danielle, I'm sure you've experienced this too, but like, even as a counselor or a therapist, as a woman counselor or therapist, like, there's sort of like this idea that we're supposed to be these like very like, like speak in a very like calm voice
That
and
hit
like,
me. Yeah. Is that offensive?
right.
Do that? Oh
Yeah,
my god.
just no, it's just, we're there's this like stereotype of a
Yeah.
therapist that we're like, supposed to be all loving, all gentle, all kind, and
Like
like
real
that's
zen. Not
right. And some of the
normal.
best therapists I know, like that's not their therapeutic style. Like they're more direct,
Yeah.
or they're like more tangible therapists, and they work in a different way. And there doesn't have to be just like one way
Right.
to be a therapist, and there doesn't have to be just one way to be a woman. There's many,
Wow.
many wonderful ways to be a woman.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
For sure. I agree.
So tell me a little bit about like in terms of your own womanhood, and I know for you, Anisha, becoming a leader, um, and for you, Danielle, wearing so many different hats as a mom and a professional. Like, if you guys were to say what kind of woman you wanted to be, what would you say you're striving for? What do you think that would look like?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Deep question.
Really deep. I I would say I would like to be more like the strong woman I mentioned in my life.
Mm,
Not taking nothing from anybody, being more assertive where needed, because, you know, I am that type of therapist that is more like, like you mentioned before, like the quiet, voice and this and that.
it's not a bad thing.
No, no, I know. Like you said, different hats, different things. We can't compare ourselves to one another. What works for one doesn't work for another. Um, but yeah, I would say just to be more, strong willed like them, and um,
Mm.
just tough, for my daughter, to show her that that's, it's okay to be that way too.
Yeah, I love that. And what are some of the things that you feel like you emulate now as a powerful woman and leader?
I'm just very empathic. Like,
Yeah.
can feel, what others are feeling, which is basically how or why I got into this counseling field in general. Um, just a great listener overall, and
Mm.
um, I don't pass judgment, on people, and just very, I feel very diverse, and so much adversity within my families, and
Yeah.
understand things on all kinds of levels. So, yeah, that just really helped me as a woman that I am now.
Oh, I love that. And I know that that's something that I'm sure your students appreciate too. Especially the impact. I don't know you very well, but whenever I do talk to you, I can feel that empathy, and it's always sort of like it's like a comfort. Like I know that if I'm talking to you, like I feel comfortable. I don't feel like I have to be something I'm not, or try really hard, or so yeah, I love that you
It's
brought
nice
that
to
up.
hear.
Yeah. What about for you, Anisha? What are some of the things that you really love about yourself, and what are some of the things that you're still working towards?
Um, wow, that's a good question. So things that I love, first of all, I love everything. I love things. That's one. But two, I think some things I want to start with the things that I'm working on. Is
Yeah.
definitely being more unapologetic with myself. Like I'm
Mm.
me. If you can't accept that, that's kind of your business. Like you clearly don't deserve like me as a person, because I feel like I have like a lot of value to myself. Well, I don't feel like, I know I have a
Mm.
lot of value,
Hmm.
you know? And it's like not everyone is meant to share that with me, like whether it's friends, like, one thing I definitely admire about a lot of females, like a lot of women, and the people that I'm around, is that you don't get to know them, you get to experience them. Like I want to
Ooh.
be able to experience somebody, and I want them to be able to experience me, because I'm not rare. I'm rare. I'm not rare.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely rare. Okay. I don't think you'll find like females that think like me or females that move like me. Like I'm very, strategic. Like I don't know how if you ever heard like these things when young people they be like, um dang, I forgot what I was about to say, but it's like they
It's all right.
were they're like very like they move like guys. Like we move like a man would, like kind of like very calculated, very like strategic with what they do, like I know a
It
lot of
sounds like
women,
you're
yeah,
sure of yourself. You know what you want. You're
yeah,
gonna go
very,
for it.
yeah,
You're not
very
gonna
much
make
sure.
yourself smaller.
Right. And one thing that I learned from somebody is kind of like just act like you don't know. Because the minute you act like you don't know, that's when people will want to like, oh well, they don't know. Let me tell them. In reality, like I know everything that I need to know, one about what I'm doing and one about you, that I know that you're gonna give me more information that will make me more successful. you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's really like a mind game that I like to play. But that's some of the things that I definitely like and I'm working on about myself and just kind of you know embodying that strong woman that I see myself being in a couple like 2 years. I honestly think like my life is going to continue to change in the next 2 years. I like
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's great. I think it's really wonderful that you know yourself, you know what you're looking for, and that you hold your ground. I think that's really hard to do sometimes as a woman, especially as a woman entrepreneur in a world dominated by men and dominated by white people. And so being able to stand strong in yourself and knowing what you're worth. And I love that
right.
you said that you are rare because you are. You are
Mhm.
a rare
Thank you. I
gem.
love
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
you.
And I think not enough of us are able to recognize that within ourselves. And we're also like told that
Right.
it's not okay to think that, right? Like we're
You
kind
know
of
that
like,
too.
oh, be humble, like
And also
don't
like
yeah.
if you're rare or you're trying to be different, you're like competing. So then it all just kind of falls back into that whole negative cycle of like, oh, well, I'm better than you, or you're here and I'm there, and like, doing all of
Yeah.
that. And then, yeah. And then it's kind of like, you know, we lack things like, and that's another thing. Like females, we're very prideful. We don't like to hear that we're doing something wrong, or like we always need that validation for things. And it's like one thing that my mentor taught me, like just recently at this event that I was at, it was like validation is for parking. We don't need validation from anything or from anyone or anything that we're trying to do in this life. Like we don't need that. And it's like it's okay, like how you said, like we have these struggles as women. Like it's okay to start back at zero, because zero is like the most powerful thing, because when you add another number to it, it doubles, you know what I mean? So it's like, don't think like when you get back or you hit square one or you're back to where you started, because sometimes you need to go back to where you started to really see the full picture of where you're supposed to be at. So
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
okay, like women, we just need to let go of that pride a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And that leads me into my last and final question for you guys, which is what support or encouragement would you like to offer other Berkeley female students at this time?
I'll go first on that. I would say to be yourself, with everything that we've talked about so far. Like I said before, too often we compare ourselves and to what's seen on social media or wherever, and that's just not healthy. You lose yourself, you stop being true to yourself when you do that, and you don't work to your full potential. I would say, learn to love the skin you're in, and
Mm,
always ask for help if needed too. Sometimes, like
mm.
you just said, too prideful, but we need to also learn to ask when needed.
Yeah, I love that. It's okay to ask for help.
Yes. Definitely. For me, I think, well, first I wanted to quote one of my favorite quotes. It's actually by a man, but
That's all right.
he's just one of my favorite rappers. So I was gonna say, quote says, "The game will test you. Never fold. Stay 10 toes down. It's not on you. It's in you, and what's in you, they can't take away." And
Mm,
I think like as women, we need to know that, like, and not just women, but everyone in general too. It's like we have the power. Like, we have power, we have ability, we have, grace from God. Like, we have everything that we need inside of us. Like, we don't have to look.
Mm.
That's why I say validation is not necessary. We don't need to go look for it. All we need to do is just look in the mirror, because what we need is literally right there in front of us. And that, you know, just keep your head up. Like, it's okay to not be okay sometimes. Trust me. It's okay to not be okay. Like, it's normal, it's natural. The only thing that you need to do is not wallow in it, is to get up and continue to go. Because at the end of the day, if you sit in it and you just let, all that negativity build up, you're really just hurting yourself. And now you're damaging relationships and possible opportunities that could change your life and change somebody else's life, right? Just because you want to be sitting in your own sorrow, and I definitely give an example of that real quick before we end this up, is that I have fallen to that. Like, I have honestly hit the lowest of my lows in life that I would ever let myself allow myself to get back to. Like, after I lost my dad and everything, like, I was very close to him, and I like to share this with people because I want y'all to realize that I could go through, like, that's the absolute worst thing you could ever go through. I don't care what anybody has to say. In my opinion, that's the absolute worst thing you can go to. Like, I was entering a brand new chapter in my life into my 20s. All right. Like, I'm so used to someone for 19 years in my entire life. Like, how can you, in a year, like, it's about to be a year this April. And it's like, if I was to sit back in that position where I was at, very sad and very depressed, I would have never had my business. Beauty Within You would have never been born. All right. I would not be an investor right now, and I would not be in school. So it's like all the things that I really wanted would have been affected if I sat in that moment. So whatever you're going through, just think about the next person and be like, wow, I wonder if it's like, is it worth it? Is it really worth me sitting down and not wanting to do anything with my life because one bad thing happened? You got to be prepared for those one bad things, because you got life ahead of you. More bad things will happen, and you just have to be okay with not being okay sometimes with it. Like, you can't control everything. So
yeah,
that's it.
I love that, and that really goes well with what I was going to say, which is that there's this quote. So I think it's like more of like a spiritual concept, I guess, but I couldn't tell you which religion or spiritual practice it comes from. But I heard it once. I read it in a book the way they talked about how we all have the face before we were born. So, like, the idea that there is this core central part of who we are that never changes, right? And so hard times might come, or difficulties may come, but the core of who we are is always there. And life is about actually uncovering and getting back to our center, versus like, I think sometimes we think like, oh, I gotta fix myself, or there's something wrong. Yeah, I gotta change myself, or there's something wrong with me. And I really love the idea of like, you have everything that you need inside. And our life story and part of our healing process is just like finding the rope that's tethered to our soul, to our true selves. And the weather might change, there might be thunder, snow, hail, but underneath that weather, there's still a clear blue sky. And underneath all of the difficulties that we faced is still our true self, the self that has been there, the face before we were born. And so that's definitely my encouragement and support of like our core, our selfhood, all the good, wonderful things that make us who we are always available to us. We just have to make the space to be able to find them. So I loved that. Thank you guys, both of you, so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the ways that you are impacting your communities, your friends, your families. Thank you for being these beautiful, amazing, professional women of color in the world that are doing good and paving the way for other people. I really admire both of you and respect both of you so much. And I'm so glad that you were here today.
Well, thank you. Thank you
for having us and doing this. It was very, nice.
Yeah. And then before we go, if you guys want to share briefly, I know that you have an event coming up. If Danielle, maybe if you wanted to share a little bit about that and where they can find more information on it.
Yes, sure. So, since next month is Women's History Month, Onisha and I are going to be doing an event, Defining Strength and Feeling Empowered. So it's sort of like what we discussed, today here in this podcast. So students, both women and men, can join to discuss what it means to be a strong woman or to know one, and like what helps them to feel empowered or motivated, especially now, with everything going on, like how is everyone able to stay strong during these difficult times. So yeah, come join and help empower other students.
Woo!
And I just want to say that I wanted to collab with Miss Onisha because she's one student who is always empowering others, as you can tell through everything she
Yes.
said. She's always empowering others to be a better version of themselves. And I noticed this from the very first day I met her. So she's very inspiring. And I've seen a lot of growth within the year of knowing her. So just wanted to say that.
I love that. And I know I don't know you very well either, Onisha, but I can definitely say the same just in the brief conversations that we've had. And I'll be really excited to attend that event to see both of you there. Will there be a flyer that'll go out on Yammer or?
Oh, yes, I meant to say that. Yeah, it was on the weekly. So it's happening March 9th at 3:30.
Okay.
And it'll be on the weekly before that. So for more information, check it out.
Yay. All right. Well, thanks guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's all for now. Join us next week for another episode of Friday Feels. Enjoy your weekend and stay safe. Be well.